In a big blow for the BJP and a big win for Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party, the Supreme Court intervention has now ensured that it is the Aam Aadmi Party candidate in the Chandigarh mayor elections who has been declared the winner. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. Our focus today on that contentious mayor election that created headlines, that created such a stir earlier when you could see on camera the behavior of the presiding officer, also a member of the Chandigarh BJP minority cell, Anil Masih, who is now all set to be prosecuted. The Chief Justice earlier called what happened in the Chandigarh mayor elections the fact that 8 of the votes of the India Alliance were considered invalid to be a murder of democracy. Today, the Supreme Court intervened and asked for a recount of the votes, in effect, counting back those 8 votes that had been declared invalid into the final tally, and said that it was the AAP candidate who was then the rightful winner and not the BJP. The presiding officer, who, as I said, is also a member of the BJP, is now liable to face criminal prosecution. Arvind Kejriwal has thanked the Supreme Court for restoring the principles or upholding the principles of democracy. The political implications of what has happened are many. It may seem like this is only a small mayor's election in Chandigarh. Why is everyone so exercised about it? Well, it was the first time that an opposition candidate had actually been jointly fielded by the AAP and the Congress against the BJP. But on camera, the country actually watched. We've seen that video, and there it is. The country actually watched as the presiding officer, basically with brazen impunity, claimed that there had been too much commotion and chaos, the ballots were defaced, and basically declared 8 votes invalid. It was seen to be an attempt to steal an election, and the Supreme Court thought so as well. To talk about what the Supreme Court intervention actually means, let's introduce our guest. We're looking at the larger implications of what's happened today. Suta Dogra, who's of course a senior journalist. She's also previously been with the Aam Aadmi Party, is with us. Welcome to the program. Sanjay Hegde, a senior advocate, is with us. Sanjay recently had a big win in the electoral bonds case in the Supreme Court. Also with us is Banuchander Nagarajan. He's a political and public policy advisor. The BJP, till the point of this program at least, has declined to take part in the discussion on this subject. So if you feel that the BJP is missing, that's why we did make an attempt to include them. And also from the Aam Aadmi Party, joining us is Abhinandita Mathur. Thank you very much, all of you. Just want to play out Arvind Kejriwal's statement, and we'll get the ball rolling after that.
हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं कि इतने कठिन समय में आज जो देश के अंदर जो हालात हैं, पूरा डिक्टेटरशिप चल रही है, जनतंत्र को कुचला जा रहा है, जगह जगह सारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस जो हैं वो एक तरह से कुचले जा रहे हैं, रौंदे जा रहे हैं। ऐसे में सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ये जो फैसला है ये बहुत मायने रखता है जनतंत्र के लिए, और जनतंत्र को बचाने के लिए ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला बहुत अहम है। इंडिया गठबंधन, इसलिए हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं। इंडिया गठबंधन की ये बहुत बड़ी जीत है, पहली जीत है, बहुत बड़ी जीत है और बहुत बड़े मायने रखती है। एक तरह से उन लोगों से छीन के लाए हम लोग ये जीत। उन लोगों ने तो चोरी कर लिया था ये चुनाव, उन लोगों ने तो वोट चोरी कर लिए थे, लेकिन हमने हार नहीं मानी। हम आखिरी समय तक लड़ते रहे, संघर्ष करते रहे और अंत में हमारी जीत हुई। तो ये पूरे देश के लिए, इंडिया गठबंधन के लिए बहुत बड़ी जीत है और बहुत बड़ा संकेत देती है देश को। जो लोग कहते हैं कि बीजेपी को हराया नहीं जा सकता, बीजेपी को हराया जा सकता है, एकता से हराया जा सकता है, अच्छी प्लानिंग और स्ट्रेटेजी से हराया जा सकता है और मेहनत से हराया जा सकता है।
Now, before I come to the politics of this, Sanjay, I just want you to take us through the import of the Chief Justice's own very scathing interventions. There's a video that is leaked also, and hoping that there's no contempt of court. We'll play that out later, where you can actually see the sort of very, very angry comments that are made by Chief Justice Chandrachud himself. He's previously also called this attempt a murder of democracy, and he said the Supreme Court is watching. The Supreme Court will not let this happen. Juxtaposed with the electoral bonds judgment, one would think that the Supreme Court is quite assertively reaffirming a constitutional idealism in the last few days.
Well, idealism was always there. But even if you've seen the earlier judgments, they laid down the correct law. However, it did look like the Supreme Court was showing its teeth but not biting. The last two judgments have bitten. And ultimately, it is also the Supreme Court possibly getting exasperated, saying that polite remonstrance or polite laying down of the law does not seem to be working. And here was a case where the evidence was straight there on camera. This was not a case which could have been just looked away from. Since it was only a matter of about 30 votes being counted all in all, Mr. Masih made the cardinal error of lying straight in the face of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
You know, if the case is bad, then you or your lawyers must know enough to just shut up and face the consequences and then mitigate it. Here, he lied through his teeth yesterday. He said that the votes had been defaced. And today, when the votes actually came in, then the Supreme Court looked at it and said, look, here are the votes. They're entirely legible. There are a few markings put by you. And those markings, curiously, are all on votes cast in favor of the India alliance. What did you tell us yesterday? So I do think that the Supreme Court has done a sterling job in restoring democracy to the extent that it can be. It was very easy for the court to have said, oh, yes, now that all this has happened, but the mayor has resigned, let's have a fresh election. A fresh election would have meant that with the defectors would have had a voice, and that the earlier result, which had been stolen, could not have been reinstated. Now what has happened is that the earlier result has been reinstated. Of course, there may be sometime in the future a no confidence motion or something like that, but that is also democracy.
That's right.
Get the procedure right always.
That's right. I think that's the important point that Abhinandita, the Aam Aadmi Party's political woes may or may not be over, because there has been a switch over by 3 of your members. But Sanjay Hegde makes the important point that the principle and the process was upheld by the Supreme Court. Your responses?
You're right, Barkha, but one victory at a time. We are very, very happy. We are very grateful to the Supreme Court, and I think all of us should be, because they really have upheld a very core problem in the democracy at the moment. And they have upheld a very, very fine judgment at this point. What has happened is, I think the emperor has no clothes now, and the BJP has mud on its face. The way the BJP was celebrating, one is the crime itself that was committed, but two, that even the top leadership, included, their chief, the way they were celebrating the Chandigarh victory is really shocking and appalling. It is really din dahade dakati, as we can say. But this verdict now has sort of the key outcomes that I see from here are, one, that it is proven that BJP is cheater. The party of the Vishwaguru, the party that is the largest party, the richest party in the world, and so on and so forth, are actually petty cheaters. What is worrisome is that it means that our country and its institutions are right now in the hands of these cheaters. So what they're doing in front of the camera in a small election, perhaps they're doing at a large scale, or they're capable of doing at a large scale in the upcoming elections, which means that if they can tweak, they can, play around with democracy in front of the cameras. God knows what they will do when 90 crore people of this country are going to go to vote in a couple of months. The third and the most interesting thing, or most hopeful thing for us, is that the Aam Aadmi Party, that the Home Minister on the floor of the House, called a Supari Jitni party, is troubling the BJP so much that they try, they stoop down to this level when they are losing. And this little party, along with the Congress today and the India Alliance, have actually given the BJP nightmares. We've always been claiming that that BJP is calling us the Supari party, but they're still going after her with all undue means. And the biggest news for a lot of us, which is basically a hope for our thriving democracy, is that BJP can be defeated. I think these are the big takeaways for us. Again, we are very grateful to the Honorable Supreme Court for giving this judgment. And the most important question now is, who made this presiding officer, Mr. Masih, do what he did? I think this is what we should also be debating and talking about, and it's as much of importance as a verdict today.
Let me bring in Chander at this point. Chander, I remember when this controversy first erupted, you made the point that there could have been some cross voting as well. You made the point that in that chaos, it was not very, very clear whether some Aam Aadmi Party members or Congress members did not deliberately play to that chaos. Today, the Supreme Court, as Sanjay Hegde points out, has intervened on the principle, not on the politics. The Supreme Court can't intervene on the politics. Do you believe that the AAP's wars are over, or do you still believe that, for the moment, the AAP candidate's victory has been restored? But will that stand? Or does that not matter right now?
Actually, it's very difficult to say what will happen in the future, because the very fact that 3 councillors have crossed over, I think that was plan C of the BJP, because first they tried to postpone the election, then they pressured the presiding officer, and he did what he did, as the Supreme Court has very clearly called out. And then when they knew that possibly the Supreme Court might order a repoll, which is what the BJP was demanding before the court, they managed to engineer these defections, and the Supreme Court has also called that out and said that there has been horse trading. So what happens in the future is very difficult to say, but I do believe that the BJP may not really take this decision, may not swallow it, and would keep on trying to get their mayor back in some way, which means a no confidence motion possibly in the weeks and months to come. That is if they are not sidelined by the Lok Sabha elections, or if better sense prevails and they allow this municipal corporation and the mayor to carry on as it is. That would actually be the best and most graceful thing for them to do. But I would also like to take a minute and say that it actually coming as all this does right before the Lok Sabha elections, it's a very, very disturbing development, because it lends credence to the opposition allegation that the BJP can stoop to any depth to win an election. It's not good optics at all, even though it's a very small mayor election. But if this, and when it does go to the rest of the country, it's not going to look good at all. So is this really the tip of the proverbial iceberg of the electoral malpractices?
Well, actually, I would put it differently. For a party where the Prime Minister Banu, let me bring this to you, is soaring high on popularity ratings. Most polls predict an easy, cruising to third term win. Why would the BJP need to sully its reputation in such a way today that the Aam Aadmi Party spokeswoman just said if they can do this in a mayor election, they can also do this in the Lok Sabha election. The point is that the BJP has won fair and square in the last 2 Lok Sabha elections. All polls predict a very, very comfortable win for it in the third term. Why would they need to do this? I think that is the question that must be asked at this point. What do you say? What are the larger implications of this?
See, I think it is over enthusiastic in the part of the official that did it, and what we learned from this whole episode is that we have a system that works. So that should actually comfort the Aam Aadmi Party, because they are the Chief Minister of Delhi is facing allegations right, left, and center. Right, on odd days he cannot say like the system is not working. On the even days he cannot say that democracy is saved by the legal system. Right, so he has to trust the system and follow the rules. And secondly, I think the BJP is sort of enthusiastic to make inroads into Punjab. It's facing the farmer protests, and because of that, the alliance with Shiromani Akali Dal is not going through. So I think they wanted to get something out of it, and that's why this whole episode happened, which should not have happened at all. So I think there are a lot of lessons for everyone. And one point that we missed is this was a paper ballot, and the whole fracas happened because of that. And I hope we have electronic ballots, even for electronic voting machines, even for these sort of elections, so that we don't have any malpractice happening at all. And last, on the political point, last I hear is that three members from the three councillors from the Aam Aadmi Party have shifted to BJP, is what I hear recently. So that actually changes the arithmetic of it. Like Mr. Hegde was saying, maybe there might be a no confidence motion later, but that is for later. But I think this whole episode shows that there is a need for solid processes, and also honest officials who can guard our democracy properly.
Banu, you raised a very excellent question about whether Arvind Kejriwal can cherry pick the parts of the legal system he wants to credit and part of it that he wants to call biased, and I'll take that to Abhinandita in just a moment. But you blame the official. The presiding officer in this case also was linked to the BJP's minority cell. He was not like some outside officer. He's a member of the local BJP unit. So the fact is that it is huge embarrassment to that extent for the BJP. Yes, certainly the AAP will have to face a no confidence vote eventually, but as Sanjay Hegde said, that too is democracy. If you just want to quickly respond, and then I'll take your point to the others. Banu, go ahead.
Mute. Yeah, so absolutely. See, first of all, this should not have happened. This person should not have been officiating the elections at all if he's a member of a political party, right? I do not know how that happens. We should have like more robust systems. As I said, this is going to have impact for the BJP in Punjab, definitely, because people are watching it. But I think for the center, it is both BJP and Modi are Teflon coated. I don't think it's going to affect them at all.
Okay, let's pick up the point, Sanjay, that Banu made, and before Abhinandita comes in, that Arvind Kejriwal today thanking the Supreme Court for upholding democracy has otherwise called other institutions of the same system biased. Right now, the court he's actually had to appear before court to explain why he's been ignoring the ED summons. The political point being made that you can't choose the parts of the legal system. When they go in your favor, you say the legal system is great. When they go against you, you say, oh my God, look at the system, is totally biased. Sanjay Hegde.
Yeah, you can't cherry pick. We lawyers at least know, irrespective of whether we win or lose, we bow down and say, most obliged, my lords, and walk away.
Yes.
But Mr. Kejriwal has to take the legal system that exists in the country. Yes, there are many drawbacks in the legal system. There have been many recent judgments which a lot of us have commented on. But when we have a functional rule of law in the country, that is a magnificent thing. If anything else, the past 2 days have shown you exactly what an independent judiciary, which is fearless, can do. I hope we see much more of it. And I also anticipate that there will be a flood of matters suddenly. But please choose your battles. There will be important battles ahead, especially with regard to the election process, with the counting of VVPATs, with possibly incidents like Chandigarh being replicated. To my mind, One of the reasons that all this happened was because it was so blatant and on camera.
Yeah.
I do anticipate that political parties might consider workers with body cams and other methods of continually video recording everything that happens.
You're being serious actually here. If we can come out of these pictures, I want to
I
hear. Yeah, you're being serious that you're saying political parties may consider now body cameras.
yes, because see that is also the march of technology, and when it
Yeah,
is available, and that is additional evidence which weighs not only with the courts but with the public at large. And most
yeah.
importantly, I hope that all our officers manning various institutions take a cue from what has happened to Mr. Masih. Please do not think that you are totally immune. The system of law may have its flaws, but when set into motion by determined people and when pursued to logical conclusions, can affect people who think that that their political bosses will take care of everything. Please serve the country. Please serve the system. Politicians are temporary birds of passage, whichever side they are, whether they are from party X or party Y.
Right. That is, I think, a profound warning to parties across the spectrum. But Banu, you were wanting to come in. Go ahead.
So I see. I think this body camera business is a bit too paranoid, is what I feel. See, the Aam Aadmi Party itself is in power in Delhi and Punjab, right? It happened through a same process that happens everywhere in India. So we should not be extra paranoid about all of these things. And we should trust the process. See, there was a mistake that happened and we found it and it was corrected. So we should acknowledge that. So Martin Luther King said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice, right? In this case, the arc was much shorter. They got justice much sooner. So I think we should appreciate that fact, but not get too paranoid about things. Also, all of these body cameras and all that, if you think of it at scale, it involves a lot of money, right? And in fact, the Prime Minister made the case for one nation, one elections because of such costs, escalating costs. So I think we should make sure that we are not paranoid, but within the bounds of what is possible, we should make use of technology.
Okay, Abhinandita, I want you to come in on the point being made about not cherry picking. The point is that Arvind Kejriwal today, thanking the Supreme Court so profusely, has had to appear before court to explain why he calls the Enforcement Directorate multiple summons biased. You can't believe in one part of the judiciary while dissing the other, is the argument being made. Your response?
So first, for the record, I think that despite all the ordeals that the Aam Aadmi Party, our leaders, and Mr. Arvind Kejriwal have been facing, especially in the last few years, for the record, we have actually never criticized the judiciary. Of course, we question the ED and some other institutions or specific, officers like the LG or other people. But for the record, even for the ordinance judgment, we said that we are not satisfied, but we honor the judgment. There is nothing more to it. I think that is an important distinction to make. There is no disregard for the judiciary. And as far as the other points that were being discussed around this are concerned, I think the fact that even a small incident like this is giving all of us, regardless of what party line we have, is giving us some hope, means that we were losing hope. That is also an irony that we need to we need to acknowledge, that it is true that that somehow there is a problem in the system, whether it is buying and selling of MLAs, governments being toppled overnight, chief ministers being sworn in at 2 a.m. I mean, there is a lot going on, and in this regard, a little hope that this judgment bring is very significant for all of us. So I think that is that is something that we must acknowledge.
Chander, I think you made the point that the BJP is going to remain focused on trying to win this on the floor and probably, take back the mayor's position. But Sanjay Hegde said that's fair and square. What is more interesting is what this does to the debate around for those who believe there is a debate around EVMs. Banu says this should close the debate, whether be it in Pakistan, which has just had a crazy election, or in Chandigarh mayor elections. Actually, many people could make the case that thank God we have electronic voting machines. Do you think that's one of the messages to take away?
Yes, certainly. Electronic voting machines do eliminate this kind of subjective malpractices, etc. However, as we all know, there is a question mark on those machines too, and so many doubts have been raised. But if you look at the paper ballot and the EVM does seem to stand out as a better option. So that's one. However, the manner in which Anil Masih, the impunity with which he acted, the brazenness with which he acted, is so alarming, and it's hard to see why, whether you can put it down as over enthusiasm or he was pressurized by his by the BJP brass, whatever. But this can happen elsewhere too, and EVMs can be taken away. It's not. I mean, the machine may not be tampered with, but there are possibilities of those machines being taken away, and all kinds of uh, things happen during elections. So it all comes down. The crux of the whole thing is the integrity of the returning officer, how much they are able to implement and enforce the election commission guidelines. I think going ahead as the Lok Sabha elections come up, this is something which everyone needs to be aware of, whether it is the citizens or the political parties and their various representatives in the booths, or the Aam Aadmi, I mean the ordinary people, the voters. This is something which it's a lesson for everyone, and something that they need to be aware of going forward into the elections.
Okay, before I give Sanjay Hegde the last word, Banu, that's not quite the argument you were making. That's the opposite argument from the one you wanted to make. So go ahead, I'll allow you an intervention there.
See, we have been using electronic voting machines in various forms from 1982, so more than 40 years. Okay, and so many elections, all sorts of elections have come and gone. It's not biased towards any one political party. There have been all sorts of election commissioners that have come and attested for the authenticity of it. Which means we definitely have to be vigilant as citizens, but not paranoid. Like, I don't know what else like the election commission has to do to say that EVMs are safe. Right, but you made a great point that in Pakistan we saw the mess. I think we are becoming a much advanced country. Like, we are going to be the third largest economy. We can't be using paper ballots and think about foldings and dots on papers. I mean, it's very, very 1950s. Okay, so I think we should move ahead. Back to you.
Right. Now, I really wish the BJP was part of this program. We did try very hard because Rahul Gandhi, in his tweet, actually directly targeted the BJP and said that the Loktantra ki hatya ki Bhajapai sajish mein Masih sirf mohra hai, basically saying he's the mask, and directly targeting the Prime Minister, in fact, in his tweet there. Well, that's politics, Sanjay Hegde. I want to give you the last word on, you spoke about the magnificence of an independent judiciary, about the rule of law. But just on a lighter note, before we play out and end with that leaked video, do you think the Chief Justice, I mean, what do you think would be going through the minds of the lawyers on the losing side as they were getting lambasted, or the client was getting lambasted by the Chief Justice?
Well, to tell you the truth, we lawyers, when we get into court, we are like cricketers who are on a pitch. Either the pitch is working for us or the pitch is full of bounce and spite. We try to survive. End of the day, we come out having done our best, and we accept the system.
Yeah.
That sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. We don't take things personally, but we do wish that people take legal advice seriously, and good legal advice. That here we have people who believe that lawyers can do anything. So first let me do whatever murder I have to do, and then let my lawyer save me. Please listen to your lawyers. Please stick on the right side of the law. The country will progress much better, much faster that way.
Okay, we're going to say thank you to all four of our guests, to Sanjay, to Banu, to Abhinandita and Chander. But it's not often that you get a leaked video out of the Supreme Court that is now so viral that I think the Chief Justice will forgive us if we're going to play it out. This was not part of the live proceeding. This was not meant to go out of the court, but it's in the public domain. And since truth is the best defense against defamation. So keeping our fingers crossed on a point of law and leaving our audience today with this slice of what went down in the court in this very important hearing around the Chandigarh mayor elections. Thank you to our panel, and we leave you with this clip.
Mr. Masih, I'm asking you questions. If I find that you are not giving me a truthful answer, you'll be prosecuted. Every word which you say, you'll be held liable for what you say. So, you're not in a political contest, you are in a court of law. Please understand that. This is a very serious matter. We have viewed the video on the last occasion. I want to ask you, what were you doing looking at the camera and crossing out, putting your marks to cross out the ballot paper?
Sir, there was a words these councillors were making so much noise, camera, all these. And that's why I'm looking why cameras they are talking about. That's why I was looking at the cameras. There was so much camera. This was all the voice coming. That was the only reason.
But why were you putting marks on the ballot paper?
After completing the process of the voting, I had to sign all the ballot papers, and those ballot papers were defaced. I just given my just highlighting that it should not be mixed again. That was the only reason.
Why were you? It's very obvious in the video that you look at some of the ballot papers. Some of the ballot papers, depending on whether the cross is at the top or the bottom, you put your signature and put the ballot paper in a tray. Where the cross is at the other end of the ballot paper, you put an X mark on the ballot paper. It's also very clear that you are putting the X mark in the ballot paper. Did you or did you not put an X mark on certain ballot papers? Please answer my question. Did you first answer yes or no? Did you put an X mark on certain ballot papers or did you not put it?
Yes, I marked on the defaced.
Alright, how many ballot papers did you put an X mark on?
It was around 8, sir.
So 8 ballot papers you put an X mark.
Yeah.
Right?
No text, just I think what I'm highlighting, it should not be mixed again the others paper. And immediately after that,
speak in Hindi if you're comfortable.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah. जैसे ही वो सर हुआ, उसके बाद इमीडिएटली आप पार्टी के एक काउंसलर मनोहर और प्रेमलता आए. उन्होंने मैंने ये बोला कि इतना 12 और 16 8 हुआ है. वो आए और उन्होंने आके सारे बैलेट पेपर को स्नैच करके भागने लगे और उनको डिस्ट्रॉय करने लगे, फाड़ा. और चंडीगढ़ पुलिस के मार्शल्स ने उनको आकर बचाया और वापस उन सभी बहुत जद्दोजहद हुई वहां पर. जो ये आप काउंसलर थे, इन्होंने लेकर भागने लगे. इट इज क्वाइट.
पर आप बैलेट पेपर को डिफेंस आप क्यों कर रहे थे?
सर मैं
आपको पता है आपका फंक्शन एक है, आपको बैलेट पेपर को नीचे साइन करना है. साइन कर सकते हैं आप, हर एक बैलेट पेपर को साइन करना है. पर आप ऐसा क्यों कर रहे थे कि कोई चुने हुए बैलेट को आप उस पर आप अपना कहते हैं आप टिक लगा रहे हैं या क्रॉस लगा रहे हैं, आप वो क्यों कर रहे हैं?
सर वो
आप बताइए कौन से रूल के तहत आपको ये पावर दी गई है कि आप बैलेट पेपर पे अपना चिन्ह आप लगाएं? क्योंकि रूल 11 में ये लिखा है कि आप उसको साइन करेंगे. साइन करने के अलावा आपको कौन से रूल में ये प्रावधान है कि आप उसमें अपना कुछ या एक्स या टिक या कुछ भी जो आप लगा सकते हैं? आपको कहाँ पावर है वो?
सर वो मैं अगेन सर आई एम रिपीटिंग, वो जब मैंने बैलेट्स को देखा बड़े ध्यान से, वो ऐसे दबाए गए थे कि वो क्वाइट विजिबल थे कि निशान देने की कुछ कोशिश की गई. That is the only reason, sir. I was not.
So why were you putting a mark on those ballots?
Sir, actually, to make this highlighting, it was defaced by the candidate.
So it's admitted that you put your marks on the ballot.
True, sir.
And on 8 ballots totally.
Yeah, and they snatched and destroyed immediately.
This answers what he did, Mr. Solicitor. Very clear as to what he did. He has to be prosecuted. I think interfering with
Mojo's Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.